Welcome to the space where knowledge meets the action. Welcome to the Empowering Show, where we break down the barriers, helping you grow. Financial literacy, speaking truth to the power. Real conversation, changing lives by the hour. We inspire to change, here we challenge the status quo. Sharing tools for building wealth, watching your seeds grow. Empower you to take control of your future. No more living in the past, we're the authors of the suture. Get ready, get set, let the movement begin. Because empowerment starts now, let the light in.
You know, I'm always bobbing my head to that little jam. It sounds pretty good to me. My name is Kendall Stevenson. This is Poltricks. I'm the host, but I also got a co-host, my brother Ronald Yates. We're going to bring him in a minute. We also have a brother on named Michael Laws, and we hope that everybody knows him here in Monroe County. And those that don't, well, you will know him because he's running for office, and you'll get an opportunity to hear from him. I wanted to start the show off by saying things that I'm grateful for. As I tell you guys, every day that you wake up, you should find something to be grateful for. If it's nothing but patting the dog on the head, at least you got a dog to pat on the head. You got a roof over your head, and you get a bed to sleep in at night. So these are the things that we need to be grateful for. Today, I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to be associated with a young man named Chris Curry. He has recently transitioned. And I just want to tell you a little bit about his life. But I want to bring my two people in. Let me bring on my man first. Boom. What's up, Ron? Peace.
Hotep, brother.
Hotep, my brother. And I'm going to bring in one more our guest because, you know, his time is short today. So let's bring him. Hello, Mr. Laws. How are you, brother? You with us, Mr. Laws? Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2. I can see you. Can you hear me, Brother Yates?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so we know that it's not a we issue. We're gonna give Mr. Laws an opportunity to check out his mic if he can hear me. And we'll be right back. As I said, I wanted to play this little homage tribute to a good friend of mine, someone who I had an opportunity to gain a lot of respect for. So without further ado, here's Mr. Chris Curry.
I'm Chris Curry, and this is my show business story. My amazing story began at the world-famous Apollo Theater, where my 3-man vocal group, The Premiers, won 4 consecutive weeks at the Apollo's Amateur Night Show, singing the classic Temptations song, Old Man River, a cappella. I'll never forget the looks on the faces of Honey Cole and the fabulous Ralph Cooper Sr. The next few years, I tried my hand at modeling with the Ophelia DeVore Great Marco Modeling Agency. Really didn't get anywhere with that. Eventually, I landed at WWRL AM radio station in New York City doing community service work. It was a privilege working there with Bob Lohr and Bernie McCain, where I was able to create the first ever in New York City celebrity basketball game for the United Negro College Fund. The tragic killing of 12-year-old Clifford Glover in the Jamaica, Queens area where I grew up led me to become more socially conscious about what was taking place in the numerous communities of our city. I knew what I wanted to do as a songwriter, but guess what? I wasn't a songwriter yet. But as fate would have it, I was fortunate enough to be in the company of Tom Bell, the great songwriter, along with Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff at Philly International. Observing them and the process of putting their fabulous stories together, I had the aha moment. And from then on, I moved forward in writing socially conscious songs. One of the songs I wrote in the trilogy of Stop the Violence is entitled Who'll Be Next, where a young 12-year-old girl is afraid to even walk in the street because she doesn't know if there's a bullet out there with her name on it.
All I wanna do is make it to the age of 23. So tell your friends and cousins too. The life they may be taking might belong to me. Stop the violence. Put your weapons down. 'Cause there's too many funerals in my hometown.
Another song that I wrote entitled Stop the Violence, which deals with what we should do and perhaps how we can handle stopping the violence. And it is definitely a chant that you can use anywhere you are. Let's stop the violence. Positive Image was a song I wrote that depicts what we look for in someone that we would like to have a significant impact on ourselves, our family, our community, our nation, and even the world. One of my songs is An Orphan's Prayer, where you have a young male who's looking for a family.
Close my eyes and pray. I'm one of the lucky ones who gets picked today.
As an artist, I find it gratifying to have created events that bring joy to people. One of these events was the 98.7 KISS FM lunchtime concert series at the World Trade Center. And eventually I moved it to the Harlem State Office building, where we were able to pay tribute to many of our celebrities like Patti LaBelle, the OJs, and my Living Legends Award series. Another event which is most significant and gratifying and fun-filled was the creation of Jammin' on the Mic, where we had artists like Isaac Hayes, Melissa Morgan, Gerald Levert, and many, many others on the same stage just having a fabulous time. I've continued that on my CD series entitled Jammin' on the Mic with Chris Curry and Friends. Luther Vandross, Gladys Knight, the Manhattans, Regina Bell, the OJs, Gerald Levert, all sang on this jingle that I wrote along with Traviso Milner.
Hi, this is Luther Vandross. Yeah, and we're playing the music for the whole family. Classic soul and today's R&B. Oh, yes, and you. Yeah, 98.7 Kiss FM. Yeah.
When I am of service to others, that is when I am most fulfilled.
My mic back on. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking the opportunity to take the time to pay homage to someone that's here in our community, someone that's been able to help our community and do things for our community and participate in our community. If you guys remember the R&B down at the Kalahari, well, he's the person that orchestrated that most of the time. All right, Mr. Laws, let's hear from you, brother. What you got to tell us? I understand that you're running for office. What office are you running for?
Sure, I'm running for a Democratic State Committee. It's actually running for re-election. So it is State Committee, basically the organization that is the assigned organization after the DNC. And so what happens is that first you've got the DNC, Democratic National Committee, and after that you've got all the different states allocated. Those are the DNC for Pennsylvania. Under that is the state party, and I am the currently running for reelection for a state committee uh, in the um, in the Allentown and Bethlehem area in Northampton County.
All right, so you're not running in Monroe County then, right?
No, I'm not.
How many seats are available in your county?
In my county, there are 6 seats that are available.
How many Democrats running?
They're all Democrats. It's Democratic State Committee, so they're
All
Democrats.
Democrats. All
Yes,
how how many seats are available?
there are 6 seats, but the chair has 1 seat, and then there's one allocated automatically based on the fact that it's a federation seat. So we actually have a total volume of 8 seats that we represent, but only 6 are up for vote.
Wow, you must have a lot of candidates
Well, actually, we only
all over
have
the place.
yeah, we got 6. We have 6 candidates running for 3 spots. Uh, we have 3 women that basically do not have competition. So the only competition is 3 spots for the men. And I'm running
All right.
as a part of a slate, and we've got 3 people that are running for reelection, 3 men.
Right now, up here in Monroe County, we are having the same issue where it's time to vote again in May. So I would just let everybody know, if you're not registered to vote, please do so. Please don't think that your vote does not count. That's a farce. It's not true. Everybody votes count. So just please get out there and vote. It does make a difference. Brother Ron, I see you sitting quiet, and I know that means you're contemplating and think about something. So what's up there in that head of yours?
Well, I'm just kind of curious. What sort of activity? You say you're running for the Democratic Committee, I believe you said. So, what sort of activities would this committee do? Would that be things like fundraising, maybe preparing a platform for likely Democratic candidates? I mean, what sort some of the things you would do, Mr. Laws?
Can you hear Mr. Laws?
No, I can't. I can hear
Okay.
you only when you're speaking.
Well, he was asking a question about what is it that you propose to do in the particular position that you're in. In other words, what does this job pertain to? What do you do as a state committee?
Sure. Well, at state committee, what you're responsible for primarily is making sure that you participate in a few different ways. Number one, there are things that state committee does. It does resolutions such as we will vote on different things. So, for example, we had a resolution that the Black Caucus passed 4 years ago. That resolution basically said that we have to make sure that all elected officials make sure that they consider and will hire Black people. And so we passed it as a resolution, and that was passed by a state committee. In addition to that, we recently passed a DEI resolution, making sure that everybody understood that, what's taking place with the protest, with, Target and some of the other ones, make sure that we support companies and organizations that support Black people, that have committed to Black people, okay? And the last resolution we recently passed, because I'm also a member of what they call the Rules Committee, we determine exactly what the rules are of the party. And so we were able to actually adjust the rules and make a resolution where we condemned ICE. And so those are some of the things that we do. In addition to that, we endorse candidates, and we actually go through a voting block, and you have to endorse candidates, and the state will then, at that particular point, endorse a particular candidate, or they'll have an open primary. So the rules committee determine those things. State committee people participate. They build relationships so they can have influence. I happen to have a lot of influence, fortunately, because I've worked on a number of different caucus groups and a number of different coalitions. And so that's essentially what we do.
Okay, so you just made a statement. I'm sorry about that, brother Ron. I'm gonna let you go ahead. I see you want to do your due. But you did make a statement. You said that those people that are helping us to move forward as far as the DEI is concerned, not putting up these roadblocks and participating and hiring people basis on the DEI. What are you doing about the people that aren't? those like certain organizations, I guess I'll mention it out. This is my opinion. Like Target. There's been a big thing about Target because they've done away with their DEI program, and a lot of people are boycotting Target.
Well, the
What do you guys do
resolution,
about companies like that?
well, the resolution that we passed actually said that we will support boycotting and not supporting those particular organizations that back away from a $2 billion investment that they want to give to the black community. That was a major part of that. Okay. So in terms of DEI, we're definitely supporting that. We're fighting that particular battle. We're not going to Target. I'm going to Target in 2 years.
Hmm. Yeah, neither was I. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is the big issue about DEI. I mean, the entire world is diversified. I mean, America is diversified. It's like how do you get away from that?
Well,
Unless you're gonna whitewash the entire country and say, hey, it's gonna be all white or something like that.
well, some people, like my point was, some people actually consider DEI to be damn, everybody's included. That's not what it is. It basically means that everybody's included based on their qualifications. Everyone's included. You need to do that. But unfortunately, we've got somebody that's in office right now. He starts with a T, ends with a P, and basically has engaged in trying to take us back to the 1950s. I mean, taking away some of these acts through signatures, and some of this is executive orders have basically thrown us back to the 1950s. I mean, they've made it actually legal at this particular point to even have, fountains, colored fountains and black and white fountains again. I mean, they've taken us back, and a lot of people don't know how far they've taken us back with some of these laws. I mean, they're making it doggone near impossible so a person can actually exist in college. In college, I was one of the founders of an organization called the 100 Black Men of Rutgers, and we usually get together once a year. Would you believe it? A few years back, they told me, Mike, our regular celebration we can't have because Rutgers College is saying that we can't have anything that supports any affinity groups. Affinity groups are those groups that actually exist that are supporting black people. It could be Hispanic people, whatever it is. The charge that the president made was there could be no more of these groups, these affinity groups, and as a result, not only does it affect college, it also affects corporations. I also was one of the founding members of the organization at Xerox, Xerox Black Caucus. We actually call themselves. Now in New York, we actually were called MAME, Metropolitan Area Black Employees. Used to meet on 125th Street at the state office building. In corporations now, those affinity groups can't exist. So the problem with DEI happens to be that Trump has decided that he is going to vote and take everything back and everything through executive order from us. And that's the problem. For those people that decided that they weren't going to vote for Kamala, basically they voted for Trump. And as a result, what we're getting is a problem. It's a major problem. And black people need to understand exactly what's taking place. Those people that did not participate basically allowed this person to get in, and now he's doing everything to take us back worse than it's ever been. Sorry, I didn't want to get on a rant.
No, that's fine. But I have a question regarding the focus of the Democratic Committee. There is a push in the state of California and also in several African countries for reparations, to bring reparations to the floor of bodies like the UN to try to force at least a debate in this country. Yet I really don't see where grassroots organizations, or in this case, the Democratic Party is pushing for things like reparations. I mean, realistically, are we going backwards? Sure we are. And for us, we're allowing ourselves to be taken backwards. We're fighting the wrong fight, right? I was the NAACP president here in Monroe County for many years, and the NAACP is still fighting desegregation cases from the 50s and 60s. That is not helping to move us forward, right? One of the major problems we have in this country is an economic issue, right? Not having access to wealth, right? We don't have generational wealth. We don't have the money, or we don't properly utilize the money to build our own communities. That is the money that our ancestors worked for, died for, bled for. And yet we're talking about things like going after Target. That whole Target, I guess, boycotted, you will, is over, right? The pastor who was basically the front man for Target has basically said, well, things are over now. You can go back to Target again. Well, what has been accomplished? In terms of Black people and our achievements in this country. In the past, say, 40 years, what have we achieved legislatively, economically, politically? We got a Black man in the White House, but are we any better off now than we were before Obama took office? Right? We never got 40 acres and a mule. And after Obama, we still didn't have 40 acres and a mule. So if you're in a position where the government gives you something, anytime man gives you something, you know what he has the ability to do? Take it back. And that's what's happening. Everything that may have been achieved is being taken back. And here we are fighting for the little crumbs. I guess it's the Reagan theory, trickle down, right? Well, we're fighting for the little trickle that comes down to us. After the Holocaust, when they say 6 million Jewish people died, well, they weren't settling for a trickle. They weren't settling for crumbs that fell off the table. They said, we want to hold those countries and those corporations and those wealthy individual industrialists responsible, and we want them to pay us for our suffering. Why are not we doing the same thing, instead of still talking about a political answer that we've never found in this country?
Well, this is what I could say to that, brother. I think Malcolm X said it best. So either we're going to do it by the bullet or we're going to do it by the ballot. Now, if we do it by the bullet, I'm down, but how many of us are down? Because in order to win something the way we want, it's got to be a revolution. Us together, us as a people, we're not ready to get involved in the revolution. So if we're not going to do it via the revolution, the only other way is through the ballot, through legislation. There's no other way.
That's not the only way. Let me tell you another way. In 1955,
can I agree with you?
Oh yeah, you can agree with me. Sure. Thank you.
Sure,
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure what everybody said, but the reality is that it's got to be the ballot, because you just can't create an entire system and say you're not going to participate. If you say that you're not going to participate, you are basically participating and allowing the other side that can do it. So it's got to be the ballot. Now, there are some people that say we don't want to participate, and I understand that process. I really do. I understand the frustrations, but the reality is that you need to get involved and engaged, even if you don't like it. One of the objectives that I've always had is trying to say, hey, let's participate in the process. And if you get in New Jersey, I couldn't participate. I tried to, couldn't get in. I moved to Pennsylvania immediately because I show up. I have power to a certain extent. And the reality is that as Black folks, just like one of my commissioner friends told me, Brother David Jones, and I work with a lot of commissioners, a lot of elected officials, by your voice being there and putting pressure and exerting pressure, especially during elections and holding people accountable, you make a difference. That's the only way you can make a difference. By staying on the outside, they block you. They don't even think about you. They don't even think you're a person, because your vote counts. Basically standing on the side and basically participating and saying, I'm doing this, I want to do that. If it's not voting, it doesn't count. Unfortunately, the Black community has got to really participate, and we're not enough of us to have a revolution. We only represent 13% of the entire population. So that's not going to happen.
Well,
You
here's
know
the
what?
thing.
I wanted to say something, Ron, just before he said that. I'm sorry. I had something. I wanted to put out there. Almost lost my train of thought. But like I said, we're gonna have to do this by the ballot. There's only one way that we can do this. Like I said, legislatively. That's the only way we've gotten anything done in this country, unless we
And
decided that we were
and what
for war.
exactly have we got done?
I'm not in chains.
Everything that the government went to war with has gotten worse. There was a war on poverty. There's more poverty. There was a war on drugs. There's more drugs.
Yep.
We have not advanced. The end of segregation showed us begin to go backwards. We who had all of this money flowing through the Black community, where we built the Black Wall Street, we built Rosewood, we built our own communities, had our own economic base. We don't have those anymore. We had farmland down south that we could grow our own crops, grow our own livestock. We don't have that anymore. What we have now is the illusion of power, that we think we're going to the ballot and we're changing something. Well, we've been voting now since 1965 consistently as Democrats. And what has happened? We can't even pass an anti-lynching bill to protect us from being lynched in this country in the 21st century. So when we talk about power, power is economic. You know, Frederick Douglass that said, power without a demand concedes nothing. And what has the greater population, or those Caucasians in this population, what have they conceded to us?
They're not going to.
And because we're not demanding it, we think that we're changing something.
This is the deal. It's not a we. There is no we. That's the problem. Ever since this so-called
There is a we. Million of us go and we support the Democratic Party. We vote as a bloc, predominantly Democratic. And here we have a Democratic Party right now that is doing absolutely nothing, that say that there's nothing they can do to stop Trump, to reverse some of these awful decisions that have been made. The Fair Housing Act that came out in the 60s as a result of segregation, that is gone. So now you can be denied access to an apartment, denied access to a house, denied the community you want to live in. Yes, we are going backwards, but what are we doing about it? We're going to vote for the same system that segregated us, the same system that said it's legal to enslave you. We're voting for that.
So here's the question.
But hold on. Let me just say this. When we decided that we were going to withhold our economic power, we were not going to spend our money with corporations. In 1955, we would have still been in the back of the bus, but Dr. King said, don't get on those buses. Organize rides, walk to work, but don't get on the buses. Didn't things change in Alabama? Didn't things change down in the South? Because it was the economic impact. Right now, we're not exerting our economic impact. We went to Target. We went to Target. We went to Target. And you know what? At some point, I don't know why, the pastor said, well, what did we accomplish? Let's just go back to Target now. Why? What did Target concede? What did Target give to Black America? What contributions did they make to HBC?
Again, it's not a we, because on this side of the road, we got the we. We're going to stand together and we're going to do things. On the other side of the road, you got people that look like us, but they show not down with us. They're more against us than anything. So we're not only fighting a corporation, we're fighting against other people that look like us, like the Clarence Thomases, like the Tim Scotts. We have to go up against those kind of people as well.
They are non-factors. They are non-factors. Clarence Thomas is a non-factor. Tim Scott is a non-factor. If Black folks decide that they're going to withhold the billions of dollars that pass through our hands every year, and won't a dollar earned by a Black person It stays in a community a total of about 6 minutes.
That's
6
my point.
minutes.
That's
If
my point.
we said we're not going to invest in America, if we're going to take our dollars and build our own communities like we did generations ago,
My point.
then things will change. But if what we're going to do is we think we're running up to the ballot box that we are going to change something, we have
don't
been
have any
we started
point
voting in
time.
this country in 18 what? After slavery ended, we started voting. We had that 12-year period from 1865 to 1877 that we could vote.
Mike, we got to go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry, Mr.
He said he
Lord.
couldn't hear me.
No problem. No, but it was a pleasure. Please invite me back.
He's got to giddy up. Yeah, he's got to giddy up.
I definitely want to participate.
Mr. Laws, we'll be looking for you out there in the ballot and out there in the news because my brother and I, we get into some deep discussions, so we gotta finish this one up. All right. So thank you very much again for coming on because we truly appreciate it. Hopefully you'll have more than a half an hour the next time you can come and get involved in the conversations that we have. I really hope that you do. So in the meantime, we're gonna give you a little round of applause for coming.
Thank you, brother, for coming.
Thank you very much, and we're out. Peace. So this is what I'm asking, Ron. If I say that the way things are, we don't do what we used to do because at one point in time we weren't allowed to go across the tracks, if you want to say so. Our money stayed in our communities. Now, once integration came in, we decided to spend our money and take our money out of our community. That's why it only stays in our community for 6 minutes. That's a choice that we had. When you were growing up, when I was growing up, that corner store was owned by a black cat. Whoever owned that corner store, we used to go get that penny candy from, was owned by a black guy. Everybody pretty much in our neighborhood was black. It's not that way anymore. I'm still trying to locate, like right now, where is the black community at? Where is it at? That we have our stronghold where we spend our money, where we're looking to build ourselves, that we're looking to build ourselves. Not looking for somebody else, some dependent from the government, but there's enough of us and there's enough money that we could do a lot of things amongst ourselves. We can grow and build.
You are making my point for me. As I said, Frederick Douglass said, power without a demand concedes nothing. The larger the government has nothing to concede to us because we're not making a demand, because we're not showing power. We're not showing strength. How much money do you think the black community, 13% of the population, how much money do you think economic activity do we generate for America? More than $1 trillion of economic activity.
I agree with you 100%.
So when you go to vote, right? They're looking at your votes, but where's your power? What are you demanding with your vote? What are you asking for with your vote?
Again,
for the Jewish community, everyone, Senate, right? Members of the Senate, members of the House, if you're running for president, you have to make a definitive statement that you will support Israel, right? That you will continue to monetize Israel, that you will fight Israel's wars. What are we asking for? So
Nothing.
You can vote all day, but but we do vote. We vote in a block. We vote in a block. We vote up and down the Democratic line as a block. What are we asking for? What are we demanding? Power without a demand concedes nothing.
Well, we got to come together, and it has to be something that's monolithic. I know we're not all monolithic, and we don't all think alike. I got you. But when it comes to policy, or it comes to how we're going to live within our neighborhood, yeah, we got to start talking monolithically. I'm sorry. We're going to have to start doing that. The resources that we need for our school, we got to fight for that, because these politicians are the ones who delegate that money. So just like Barack Obama said, You want me to do something, you got to make me do it. Now, this is the problem that I got with certain people. They complain a lot. They make a lot of noise, but they only complain to each other. They don't bring their ass down to the town hall meetings and give an uproar and have something to say. They're not there because I'm there. Okay, they're not at any of the other things that people participate. In other words, the politicians look at people. This is my constituent. These are people who donate. These are people that come and they speak to me. These are the people that I meet at the PTA meetings. These are people I meet here and there that got something to say. They show up. So when are we gonna show up? Is what I'm trying to say.
Do you know what John Henry Clark said? John Henry Clark, the noted historian, said, we got ourselves together, and then we took our show on the road. We don't need to be at the town hall meeting. We need to be at our own meetings. What is the point in voting if we are not voting united and demanding something? So all of us are going to the polls, but we're disjointed. Well, I'm just going to vote up and down the Democratic line. I'm just going to vote for this guy over here. But what is it you want for your vote?
We're actually saying the same thing.
Right. That's my point. We have to get ourselves together and then take our show on the road, right? We have to have these internal meetings.
Right. We have to be.
And there is a we. There is a we. Do you know every year the Democratic Party expects us to vote for them, right? They expect us to vote for them. And what are they giving in return? Nothing. So we have to get ourselves together, get on one page and say, listen, if you want our vote, Hakeem Jeffries, if you want our vote, whoever's running for president, if you want our vote, we have a list of demands. And if you can't meet that list of demands,
Republican or Democrat. Remember, I told you I don't give a damn who's in that seat, Republican or Democrat. Their job is to serve the people. So we are the people, and the only way to get them to do their job is we got to make them do it.
But we're not going to make them do it because we are not organized. See, what the government responds to, what everybody in this country responds to, is this: money, right? Why do you think that nearly 95% of the people in Washington, I'm talking about both chambers of Congress, take money from AIPAC? That buys them access. That's why we support Israel. That's why we fight Israel's wars. That's why in this country, you can make any kind of statement you want against the U.S. government, but you can't speak against Israel. They're trying to make that a felony in this country because we are not getting ourselves together and taking our show on the road. So all we're doing is giving away our vote, giving the little bit of power that we have. We're not utilizing it properly. So we have to sit down and figure out what it is we want and how we're going to get it. And part of that, and in voting, is a small piece. The big piece is self-empowerment. The big piece is taking that $1 trillion of activity and investing it in Black and brown communities. Do you know there's people in Georgia right now that bought 75 acres of land? A group of families got together and bought 75 acres of land in southern Georgia. And what they're doing is they're creating generational wealth for not just their children, but their children's children and their children's children, right? So now if they go and vote, they now have an incentive to vote. What we need from the government, we need grants and loans for farming, to buy farm equipment, to buy seed, right? That's what we need. And if you're not willing to do it, there are other political parties, right? Mm-hmm. Or we can be self-reliant and say, we're going to do it ourselves, like our ancestors did. But what we're doing right now is we're asking the government to help us. And the government has never been inclined to help us. We have to help ourselves. And if we're not willing to do that, then we might just lay down and die.
Brother, like I tell you, ever since this integration came along, the only thing it did for us is made us more of a dependent. We becoming more of a dependent on a society or on our government to the handouts to take care of us. I mean, just you think about it. Was the government taking care of us before integration? How were they taking care of? They wasn't. But we managed. We did a whole lot. We built towns. We built schools. We built businesses. We built communities. What are we building now?
You know why we're not building it now? Because we're under the belief that what we need to do is vote. And voting will change everything. And not just us. You have to understand something, right? Every community across this country believes that voting is bringing about change. Every politician that runs says, if you want change, vote for me. What changes? How have whose life, just think about it, whose life has improved in the last, say, 30, 40 years? Aside from rich people, for working class and poor people, whose lives have improved? Name one group.
Too much of an up and down, you know. It reminds me of that song. What was that song that said, "Vote for me and I'll set you free"? That's kind of like what I hear when I hear these people say that. But I got to take one break, bro. Just one little quick commercial, because if I don't, they'll be kind of angry with me, and I don't want to hear their mouth anyway. So look, we go with the Wolfpack, and the Wolfpack is a sporting apparel. So check them out. Yeah, for any people that are interested in the Wolfpack sporting apparel, you can check them out. They're on the PAEmpowermentNetwork.com. They are on that webpage. You can look them up. Anything you like, you can purchase, I imagine. I think they got some pretty good looking stuff that I think I bought my wife bought me a sweatshirt, and it's got the big wolf in the front, you know, because I kind of like that. In my family, they call me the wolf, so the shirt went well. All right, let's get back to what we're talking about, some real stuff. We're talking about voting. You know, I'm gonna tell you also, man, just with what's going on now with our crazy president. So he starts a war illegally, wasn't supposed to be there. We get over there, he gets pissed off after he killed all these children in the school. He kind of gets pissed off because they retaliated. Their retaliation was to stop everybody from coming in and getting the oil. He threatens them and says, look, we're going to blow you up, your whole civilization, and everybody else if you don't open it. They said, no, we're not going to open it. So then he sends ships in to block it in so nobody can get it. I don't know. He closes down. Didn't he fight? We went to war because he wants it open. He wants this oil, right? So why are we still there?
You have to understand something. There are deeper implications than just oil, right? So Trump, I saw on the news today, they said he extended the ceasefire indefinitely. So right now, J.D. Vance and some other American dignitaries, if you will, are headed to Pakistan for peace talks. Well, who is absent from the peace talks?
Anybody that looks like us.
Israel is absent from the peace talks, right? So now what happens if Iran and America reach an agreement and Israel, who has not negotiated, decides this is not a good deal for us and they want to continue the fighting? who's going to be dragged back into this war. Now, when you talk about Trump,
Well, aren't we the military? I thought the United States was the military for Israel. I mean,
well,
don't
we
we give
are.
them like billions and trillions of dollars a year?
We give them billions of dollars of yes. We give them billions of dollars of yes.
Right, to make
Well,
sure they got good medical, to make sure that they don't have to pay for housing, to make sure that their kids can go to school for free. Isn't that what we do? That's our job here as the United States of America, isn't it?
And you know something? Here's the thing. Jewish people in this country are about 1% of the population, right? So it's not the ballot that gives them power. So what is it?
Money.
It is the economic pressure that they can exert on our government that is what is determining our strategy or our policy, foreign policy, as it relates to what's called the Middle East. We now, right, 13% of the population, right? Why aren't we exerting that kind of pressure? You know why? Because all we're doing is going out every 2 years, every 4 years, right? Saying, oh, this all going to change. Let me just vote him out or her out. And you're voting in the same system. The same system that said slavery is legal. Jim Crow is legal. That said lynching should not be investigated. That said black people were 3/4 human beings. The same system. The same system that still keeps Native Americans living on reservations. Yet every morning at school, they say to remove your hats, place your hand over your heart and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Freedom and justice for all.
Got you.
Did George Floyd have freedom? Did George Floyd have justice? Trayvon Martin, the Native Americans? So what are we doing here?
I got one question, real easy. So what do we do about it?
What we do about it is
not going to get us anywhere. Do we vote? So I don't know if we should vote or not. You know, what do we do about it?
What we need to do is, as what I've been saying all along, we have to have these internal conversations. We have to get ourselves together, then take our show on the road. But as long as, we have people who would just vote with no demand, who's not asking anything, which is exactly what both parties want. They don't want us coming down there saying, hey, listen, we demand this. We're not going to the polls. We're not spending any money. We're not fighting any wars. What can the government do to you? We're supposed to be the government. They're going to put you in jail anyway. We're supposed to be the government. And the Constitution says that the government no longer serves your purpose. It is your right. In fact, it is your duty to change that system of government. This system of government, is not serving anyone except the 1%, right? That's all. How we change it is we simply resist. We simply do not give the government what it wants. And what it wants is bodies to fight wars. It wants you to spend your money in stores like everything is fine. And it's not. This country is going to hell at a high rate of speed. And they tell you, never mind the bodies laying in the street, just step over them and go to Macy's and shop. Pay for the high gas prices, right? Pretend the prices like it was 2 years ago, 30 years ago, right? Live in an alternate reality, an alternative universe. And a lot of us are doing that. But you know something? If we, the people, decide enough is enough, what the hell can the government do? They're going to put 400 million of us in jail cells? They don't have enough jails.
Well, they seem like they're building them now, aren't they?
But it doesn't matter. They don't have enough. And you know who has to put you in jail? working class and poor people just like you. And if they're going to put us in jail, you know what's going to happen? Eventually, somebody's going to put them in jail, right?
Well, they don't realize that.
Movements.
They don't realize once we're all gone, if they want to say, once they get rid of all of us, then they're going to go after them.
Well, that's what happened. That's what happened in Germany, in Nazi Germany, where you had the priest who said, "I said nothing when they came for the Roma or the gypsies because I wasn't a gypsy. I said nothing when they came for the intellectual because I was an intellectual. I said nothing when they came for the Jews. When they came for me, there was nobody to tell."
Nope.
So yes, if they put us in jail, eventually they will be in the cell next to us, right?
And that's what they don't realize. See, you know who realized that though? And I'll keep saying my man's name over and over again, Huey P. Newton. Because the only way we're ever going to make any changes in this country is one, we gotta get rid of all of this social construct of this black and white and stuff, and then we're gonna have to unite. You're gonna have to unite and go against the powers that be. That's the only way it's gonna happen.
And you know something? Passive resistance. You know, we saw with Dr. King, but where did Dr. King get it from? Mahatma Gandhi.
Right.
Mahatma Gandhi said 800 million Indians cannot be controlled by a few 100,000 Englishmen. So what they said was, we're going to shut this country down. We're not going to work to make money for England. We're not going to let them extract our wealth and take it back to where they live. We're not going to work. We're not going to buy in English shops. Eventually, England gave independence to India. In this country,
there was a we. Remember I said about the we.
But there is a we. There is a we. We are the people. We are the people that the Democratic Party call on to go and vote. So there is a we. We just need to redirect that energy, that focus in another direction. It has to be a multi-pronged attack. You can't just say, I'm going to vote and voting is going to change things. It never has and it never will. You have to have more than just the ballot. Israel, like I said, Jewish people, 1%. But who exerts more power in this country than the Jewish lobby?
Don't they own so much every damn thing just about in the country? Including
and that's my point. Money. That's what we're lacking. That's what we're lacking. So they can go, they have direct access to Trump, direct access to both houses of Congress, right? If the rabbi calls, they're going to pick up the phone. Who do you think in the black community has enough power to call the White House and speak directly to Trump? Name one.
I don't know, but you got somebody saying hello to you, Mr. Yates. They say 100%, Mr. JJ.
Somebody tell JJ I said Hotep.
Hotep, brother. Hotep.
So we don't have that access, right? And unfortunately, in this country, access is bought and paid for, right? It is not something you earn by being a good American citizen, by voting, by being patriotic. You do not earn anything that way, right? In this country, unfortunately, you have to take it. You have to demand it. And unfortunately, you have to sacrifice in order to get what you want. Will people die? People die every day. We're dying every single day, killing ourselves for the stupidest of things. So if we're going to die anyway, hell, we might as well die fighting for a future for our children and our children's children. But if we're just going to shoot each other for control of a corner that we don't own anyway, right? What is the point?
Brother, Carter G. Woodson, the miseducation of the Negro. So as far as we're concerned, as a people, a lot of us have been miseducated, and a lot of us are very much in denial, where it makes it a lot harder to come together as a people. I know we have our different organizations, and some of us make a little bit of noise. But again, I'm the type, I just don't want to complain to each other. I want to actually get out there and do something. And the only way I know how to do it is through the politicians right now.
But that's not the only way. The easiest way to reach black people is to go to the clergy. Because on Sunday, black churches are filled. For if you looked at the civil rights movement, all the information, or the vast majority of it, was disseminated through the various churches, right? So if we were to just and if you think about it, right? I can't think of the brother's name right now, who was, I guess, instrumental in this boycott of Target. This is a preacher. If we could just get the preachers to sit down and listen, right? And begin to go back to their congregations and say, listen, what we need to do is build economic power first. Have conversations amongst ourselves first. Then we'll talk about voting. Then the Democrats will have to come to us and say what they're offering for our vote, instead of just coming and listening, eating a piece of chicken at the church with the pastor.
This is true. Okay, so I'm going to sum everything up. Pretty much what we're trying to say is we need to come together as a people if we're going to make any kind of changes. The changes first have to come within us. We have to make the changes within us. We can come together as a people, and then we can fight the power as we want to say. But we have to do it unified as a people, which is why I really stress my man Newton, Huey P. Newton. I really stress him and his philosophies about how all of us, it's going to take all of us to do it. It's not just going to take a small group of us. It's not going to take that 13%. It's not just going to take all black people. It's going to take the mighty whitey people too. It's going to take all of us, because all of us are in the same boat, whether we want to be there or not. So on that note, it's about time for us to be out of here. We're going to pick this up next week. But thank everybody for tuning in. We do truly appreciate it. And again, like I said, I'm paying homage to now the brother is an ancestor, and I really did appreciate getting the opportunity to know him, getting to spend some time with him, and getting to learn from him. So for those who don't know his name, I'll say it again: Chris Curry, Christopher Curry, Ashe. So brother, we're out. I'm gonna say peace,
Hotep.
A peace and Hotep. All right, that was a pretty good show. Peace, brother.
Peace. I got something cooking. Let me run outside. I got my steak in the oven. Let me go check on that before I burn.